Hey guys, it's Dawn here, and today I want to go over some diamond painting pens real quick, and also to share my experience with buying a custom hand-turned diamond painting pen. So first off, you start off with something very, very simple like this. These come free when you buy a kit. Almost every single kit will have something like this, and it's basically a straw, a hollow plastic straw with a tip on the end. But do not toss these because these tips are valuable. You can put these tips onto pretty much any other pen that takes these kind of tips. So these two, not this one, because this uses this is a different fastener type, right? And this is a different type. This one is replaceable as well, but it's a different type. But this can be used on this and this and your custom one also. So don't toss these out because it could come handy, because some people do after a while the little brass tips do get a little dented or warped or whatever, and you want to replace the tip. So then you might want to get a pen, oops, don't roll away, like this. And these two came in a kit or a set off Amazon by Star Wars, I believe, and I do have a video about these dedicated, but different types of tips. I love this tip. I love this tip before the very tippy tip broke off, and now it's too blunt, it's too wide. But it's a very nice pen. It's got a little sparklies down the barrel, and this pen is very nice. And it has a multi, and it has an angle tip, and I like the angle tip. And once again, all of these are all very snug fits, and you just pop it off and pop it back in. There's no glue or anything holding it on because it doesn't need to have glue. It is very, very snug, and it pops right in and it doesn't come out. In fact, this one is too hard. Well, it's very hard to pull this one out. I'm able to because this one has a curve, and I'm actually able to turn it, but I don't want to right now, so I'm going to just push it back in. These ones, that's so straight, it's a little bit harder to pull out. You need to get some small curved tip hemostats or needle nose pliers. Just be careful not to dent in the plastic when you're doing, or the brass tip, that's soft too. Just, just be careful. But yeah, this is easier because it's flat, so you can twist. So anyways, so I love this one from Amazon, and it comes in different colors. This one I believe is peacock. Beautiful. Love the shimmery, love all the different colors in it. And then after that, then I decided that I wanted to get a custom hand-turned diamond painting pen from Etsy. So this one was about $17, $18 off of Amazon, and then the custom ones go anywhere from $20, $25, $35 and up. They go quite high because some of them are super fancy. So from Etsy, I found a listing that I liked, very pretty one, and you can see the blank over here and then the finished product. And it is very shiny, very finished, very polished. I love the color, so I placed the order. Now, when you place these orders, you get to choose things like the style of the barrel, and a lot of these, they go by bumps. So what a bump is this. This is 1 bump, 2 bump, 3 bump, 4 bump, and they will even you can even refer to it as such. This is bump 1, bump 2, bump 3, bump 4. This is a narrow waist. This one is a 3 bump, but the bumps are not well defined. You can ask for a well-defined bump, well-defined waist, skinnier waist. You want bumps 2 and 3 to be larger than 1 and 4, etc. So that's kind of the lingo that you can use when trying to describe your perfect pen, right? And for something that they can make for you. Well, so I went ahead and placed my order. It takes about 30 days for them to make it, and then she sent me a photo, and this is what she sent me. Now, what I noticed is that it had a matte finish if you can even call it a finish. Literally, this is the same color and everything as the blank because it has not yet been finished. It's not polished, right? So I mean, it's still beautiful looking at the picture, but it's a lot different color than this finished product over here. I wanted something darker. This is a lot more white, but you can't really go by that because that's something that they cannot control. If the resin has a bunch of different colors swirled in there, then no one can really predict what is going to be, what the finished product is going to be like, because you can't predict where those swirls are in there as they're turning it, right? But still, I still expected something polished. I figured, well, maybe that's just in her process, and you know, I mean, for sure, this is a very reputable Etsy seller, and this is what they said that I'll get, so it should be polished when it arrives. Well, when it arrived, and shipping was normal, it was fine. When it arrived, I got another little disappointment. So usually with Etsy sellers, especially ones that you wait 30 days for, and they're custom handmade products, then they usually come wrapped up in some nice tissue at the very minimum, or you know, something that personalizes it, right? And really pretty packaging. Well, this one was just an old shipping box, cardboard, that she stuck the pen in and then just put some more tape on it. So when I received it, it was just this ugly thing, and I just sliced the tape down there and then pulled the pen out. Not the best presentation. I would give it a 1 out of 5 for presentation. But still, I was like, who cares about that? Just as long as the pen is pretty, right? So I received my pen, and it is absolutely matte. And matte is not even the right word for it, because it would be more accurate to say that it was unfinished. It was an unfinished product. It's basically exactly what would happen if you were working with a piece of wood. After you carve out the shape of your wood, you do need to sand, polish, and maybe apply a polish at the end or a sealer at the end, right? That's the steps. This one was like she just stopped at turning it. That's what it seems like. That's what it felt like in my hand. It was rough, and it wasn't polished. So I sent her a message, and she just said basically that that's what I chose, and it's out of her control. So that was that. So if you get a pen like that and you are disappointed because it's not polished, to me, I didn't even know that that was a thing. I didn't even know that they would send an unpolished product, because to me that is like sending an unfinished product. That's exactly the same thing to me. So if that happens to you, don't worry, because you can polish it yourself. This resin is actually very, very easy to polish up. Now, I have a buffer polisher wheel. I have a buffing wheel. So I took my buffing wheel to this, or I took this to my buffing wheel, and I was able to get a beautiful shine out of it. Now, I only polished it up. There is no sealant and there is no product polish on this. This is simply buffing it out on the wheel and shining. It just brought out the shine. It brought out the colors, and it just makes it a totally different product. Now this, if I had pulled this out of the box, out of that ugly cardboard little box that she sent it in, I would have been in love and absolutely forgotten about the cardboard, right? This is beautiful, beautiful work and everything, but instead I got an unfinished product, and I still can't believe that that is how they sent. So to more accurately illustrate to you, so this is the picture, and I should have taken more pictures of the of the of how it was when I got it, but it was basically exactly like this. Oh, so you see over here, unpolished, polished. Now, I don't know anybody that would choose this over this when you can clearly, you have to polish these. I mean, that's the whole point of a resin pen, because you see that the opalescence colors. Are you focusing? Come on, focus for me. You see the opalescence, you see the shine, you see the swirls, all the different little details and within these colors, the depth and the vibrancy of this. It has to be polished, in my opinion. I suppose I could always be wrong, but in my opinion, this is unfinished until it is polished. And it's not even like you have to go through the argument of being allergic to sealants and stuff. This is without even any sealant. Now, if you don't have a buffer polisher type of thing, you can still do it with very fine grit sandpaper. You usually want to move up the grits. So you start one, now when you get it, it shouldn't be super duper rough. It should still be very fine. So start with a not so fine, then a fine, then an extra fine, then a super fine, and so go on like that, you know, progress through, and you can definitely do it by hand. If now a lathe is awesome because the lathe actually sticks in on both ends and it turns the pen, and this is how they make it. So that makes it super easy because it's turning it at super speed, and all you have to do is hold, let's see, all I have over here is a tissue. You just hold your tissue, your paper, your sandpaper, you just hold it there while this is spinning super fast on the lathe, and that makes it really easy to get it polished up. The buffing wheel that I have is not what you use for this, but that's just what I had. And if you don't have a buffing wheel, you can just, you can rig something up, because remember, you can pull these out. You can rig something up. When you pull this out, there's still a hole here. You can maybe rig something up to make it so that this can turn while you do it, or simply do it by hand. And I would recommend that you do, because you might find some beautiful colors hidden in your unfinished resin. Now, the other thing is that this resin pen, oh, real quick while I have this out, you know how I showed you how the other ones, the tip, you don't need anything extra, you don't need any glues or anything because it's a snug fit. This one was not the case. The fit was too loose. She had held it in there with some kind of glue. I pulled that off because I wanted to change tips. I dug all the glue out, and this is a much larger hole than is needed. And so, but what I did was I actually got some of my wax that I don't use, and I was going to stick some patty wax. No, I'm sorry, not the patty. No, I'm not going to waste my patty wax like that. I was going to stick some the blue tack, because I have some blue tack. So I was going to stick some blue tack in here, but what I ended up using was some other wax that I didn't really like at all. Got a big wad of that wax and I just shoved it down in that hole, and then I put this on, and now it is loose. I should probably refill it, but it does hold it well. You can also use other glues. I'm trying not to use something too permanent because I do want to be able to switch out these tips. But, okay, now the other thing was I didn't know how much larger this pen was going to be to everyone else. This is the largest pen I ever have had. That was really shocking. So that is definitely something that you might want to check first. I wish I had known that, because then I would have requested for something, because resin is dense, it's solid, and it is heavy. It affected it. I could feel it in my hand how heavy it was. My wrist could feel it. It did hurt a little to get used to it. I know I sound like a wimp, because how can a pen hurt? But you do this for hours and hours and hours, and yeah, but I got used to it. I got used to the size and the weight, and when I went back to this pen, now this pen feels so super light, and I'm kind of torn between the size of this pen and this pen now. But to give you an idea on the weight, let's see, I wrote this down. This one is 0.1 ounces or 3 grams. This one is 0.6 ounces or 16 grams. This one is 0.5 ounces, 16 grams. This one is 0.7 ounces, 20 grams. So the difference between this and this one is heavier by 4 grams. Okay? And then this is 32 grams over 20 grams. And my tip did I not put this tip back in? So 32 grams over 20 grams, definitely can feel that difference. I wish I had known I would have gotten one that was a little more narrow and maybe a little shorter too, because my tape measure here. This is about 5 inches. And I'm going from tip to tip. This is about 6 inches. This is about 5 3/4 of an inch. This is 6 inches tip to tip. This is, so this is a rough measurement because I'm doing this to get this end. And this is about 6 5/8 of an inch. I can feel that difference in hand. This is about a little bit under, let's see, yeah, 6 inches. So an extra 5/8 of an inch longer, but definitely beefier. These bumps, so this is a 5 bump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bumps. Bumps 1 and 5 are slightly smaller than 2 and 4, and 3 is a little bit smaller, and I asked for a narrow waist. Did I get the specifications of the bumps that I requested? Yes, I did. Beautiful work, beautiful resin. My only complaint is that it was unfinished. And luckily for me, I could rectify that. I can fix that. I can do it myself. But for someone else, or if they don't know that they're supposed to do it on their own, you know, I mean, that would be sad to not have ever seen and experienced the beauty of their pen that they waited and paid money for, right? So the other thing is, as I was buffing this, it was changing colors because I'm removing product from it, right? So it originally might have been even heavier and beefier than this, but this is what I ended up with. I actually wanted to get this down even more because it seemed too big to me still, but I didn't do it. I stopped because I got to a color combination here that I absolutely loved. And I know that if I keep, you know, shaving away at it, then it's going to keep changing colors, and who knows what color I'm going to get as I dig down deeper, and I don't want to take that risk. I love these colors now, and I want to keep these colors. So that's another thing. If you don't love the colors that you have right now, try buffing it out and seeing if you can get to an area of the of the swirls. That is, it all depends on how they made your resin and what colors are possibly inside, right? Because okay, so that's another thing to know. But resin actually is very easy to work with, and it's something that you can do yourself. So if you're not happy with yours, definitely play around with it, and you see that it's not a complicated process, and you can probably fix it and make it into something that you love, because you deserve that. All right, so there you go. I hope that that was helpful to you, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.